Consumers have a right to the truthful disclosure of the health hazards of using cigarettes, and tobacco companies have an ethical and legal responsibility to refrain from marketing their products to teenagers and children. 1910 to the 1960s. The first mass marketing of cigarettes takes place in the first 3 decades of the 1900s, and cigarette sales light up. Ads run on radio, in magazines, and newspapers. During World Wars I and II, cigarettes are sent to soldiers overseas to boost morale. Big Tobacco knows when and if soldiers return home, they will be addicted and will buy more cigarettes.
Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Puff, and if you puff yourself to death.
The Winder-Graham tobacco study makes the cover of Life magazine on December 21st, 1953.
See a rat with tumors on its back, it caused some panic among cigarette smokers. And really, people got together at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. We try to decide how to deal with this issue. The statements at the time, especially by the research directors of the industry, were things like, it's lucky for us, it's a habit they can't break, indicating that way back then in the early 50s, they knew how addictive cigarettes were. Another said, just think if we could be the first company to make a cancer-free cigarette. And again, an admission by the head of the research department that their cigarettes were causing cancer.
TV and billboard ads saturate the country. Athletes, movie stars, politicians, doctors are all pitchmen for tobacco.
And according to this nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette.
It still tastes good like a cigarette should.
Warning labels were placed on all cigarette packs after the 1965 Advertising and Labeling Act went into effect. The Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act of 1969 banned cigarette ads from radio and television. The 1970s to the 1990s. In the 1970s and 80s, tobacco companies were compiling research on the importance of addicting teenagers to replace dying smokers.
Their internal documents that were kept secret for all of these years show that they were carefully tracking the smoking of 14, 15, 16-year-old. I believe the number is 87% begin smoking before their 18th birthday. Nearly 95% begin before their 21st birthday. If they don't get someone smoking as a teenager, their business is basically going to dissolve. And when a brain develops as a teenager bathed in nicotine, it develops very strong pathways that lead to and keep people addicted.
1993 to 1997. In 1993, Pensacola attorneys Fred Levin and Bobby Laura, along with Senator W.D. Childers, worked to change the Florida third-party Medicaid statute to help Florida recover the billions spent caring for smokers.
Yeah, Mr. Levin had asked me to draft some legislation that would completely gut the cigarette industry's normal defenses that they use in court. W.D. Childers managed to pass the legislation on the very closing hours of a legislative session. W.D. Childers and Fred Levin were, front page news. Lawton Child said he was on board with it.
On April 14, 1994, at the Waxman congressional hearing, 7 tobacco CEOs declare under oath that nicotine is not addictive.
Just would like to have this for the record.
I don't believe that nicotine or our products are addictive.
I believe nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
And I too believe that nicotine is not addictive.
Under pressure from Congress, the Philip Morris Company releases research scientist Victor DeNoble from his confidentiality agreement. Dr. DeNoble testifies that his research proved nicotine was addictive, contradicting the sworn testimony of the tobacco CEOs.
Well, nicotine is a drug, and it is addicting. About a drug addiction, you're talking about a change in the person's brain. So it is a highly addictive drug, probably one of the most addictive drugs there is because it's so frequently used.
Nicotine, when it's burnt in a cigarette, is so absolutely addictive. It's like freebase cocaine.
That's why he and his colleagues did not smoke, and R.J. Reynolds' executive said, "We don't smoke that crap, we just reserve the right to sell it to the young, the poor, the black, and the stupid." On February 21st, 1995, Pensacola attorney Bob Kerrigan and other members of the legal dream team chosen by Fred Levin filed civil suit number 95-1466A0 on behalf of the state of Florida to recover the billions spent on caring for sick smokers. On August 25, 1997, Florida enters into the $11.3 billion Florida Tobacco Settlement Agreement as the jury is being chosen.
Our long and difficult 4-year journey down Tobacco Road has come to a victorious end.
And as a result, all of the other states at that point said, well, Florida's going to get $13 billion. That led to the national settlement, which led to the most significant piece of health care legislation ever passed in this country was the Florida statute. Some stupid little thing that I did was that significant that saving 100,000 lives each year. So that would, far and away, is probably the most significant thing I've ever done in my life.
The agreement banned ads on billboards, sports events, and festivals. It also prevents tobacco companies from targeting children. Settlement funds established a group called SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco.
Florida, I know one year they spent $100 million. They took a bunch of high school students and let them design the ads, and they were hard-hitting ads. You'd look at them and they really got your attention, but they were designed by teenagers for teenagers, and that was the first time really in Florida that we saw youth smoking rates start to decline rapidly, and they declined around the United States as well during that time.
8th grade smoking rates were at an all-time high of 21% in 1996, but declined to 10% in 2002.
Thankfully, we have seen a big decline in teenage smoking over the years, and we're just really thankful for the tobacco settlement money and also our SWAT groups in the schools for the big help with that. The only problem is, though, we still see such crafty design by the tobacco companies, by big tobacco, to hook teenagers into smoking.
Under the Family Smoking Prevention and Control Act of 2009, flavored cigarettes, free samples, and mini packages of cigarettes were outlawed. The public has a right to be told the truth about what is in a product like a cigarette and how it can harm them.
Just when you purchase a product, you're purchasing that product in good faith, meaning that you're assuming that the product is not going to harm you in any way. And that's something the tobacco industry has hid from the public for many, many years, very successfully by lying about their product. So I think the public deserves the truth so that they can make an informed decision.
Really, the bottom line is that 5.6 million of our kids will be killed by tobacco unless we act now.
E-cigarettes and Candy Crush are just another gateway to tobacco's old ways.
You have blueberry cigars, you have like all of these random candy flavors. Now, I don't know about you, but can you think of any old man who would want to have a blueberry cigar? No. So it's obviously like targeting youth, and it's even targeting little kids, not just teenagers.
Tobacco companies have a corporate responsibility to prevent teenagers from smoking.
There's no doubt in my mind that they're targeting not only teenagers, but even middle school kids. That whole idea of candies and flavors is directly targeted at young people to get them to start using tobacco.
Each and every day, 3,200 children take their first puff of a cigarette.
Smoke that cigarette. And if you puff yourself to death, tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate that you just hate to make him wait. But you gotta have another cigarette.